Happy Unwind Friday! Good evening, everybody. Let me go ahead and bring us in. So, as you know, it is your girl, Lissa Black. I am bringing you the heat with a little street. And
And I am bringing you tools that you can use. So, because I am a life and health coach, I like to I like to bring it in with a positive note and ask everybody what's been going well for you in the last 7 days. So I would like for you to comment what's been going well for you. I'd like for you to think about and then think about what's been going well for you in the last 7 days. Only in the 7 day period, what's been going well for you. Yes. So, Melissa, what's been going well for you in the last 7 days?
What's been going well for me? This week, I know I had posted earlier that this has been a little tough week for me, a little rougher than normal. So I've been really self-caring, kind of because I had to, because I wasn't feeling well. So I was really taking care of me this week. So self-care has been going well for me this week. How about you?
Well, for me, I will say what's been going well for me is planning for my vacation, because self-care is taking time away from everything just to enjoy a different city. Yeah. And some time with your family, because our family is so important. Your family should be important, your children. So just getting everything together and purposely not letting it be a stressful thing for me, because sometimes we can ruin like vacations and things by letting it be stressful mentally. Mm-hmm. So when you organize it mentally, you can organize it physically. So I organized it mentally so that it wasn't an occasion that was stressful for me because I was taking my kids. So I planned in advance. I have them packed already. I have everything they need. So we don't have to worry about that part of it. So that's what's been going well for me, practicing what I preach to other people by mentally organizing and then physically organizing my events, my vacations, should I say, so that it is not stressful, so that it is a beautiful time with my family.
Awesome. So, I always like to give an overview of what we're going to talk about tonight. So our topic tonight, but before we jump into that, what we are drinking tonight to unwind. Guys, last year, this was the classic. This was the turn up. So we decided to go ahead and bring it back one more time. So y'all know what this is. This is the skinny margarita wine cooler. So this is what we are sipping on tonight. The Pacific one is a strawberry. So this is what we have tonight.
And the reason why we are sipping on that, because yesterday was Cinco de Mayo Day. Cinco de Mayo. So shout out to the Hispanics for Cinco de Mayo. So we decided to do margaritas this week. And I did do margaritas and burritos yesterday, even though it's not about that. It's about their freedom, about their win that they had and a battle that they had. But we're still just representing for that and just supporting a different culture at the same time.
All right. So the overview for tonight. So our topic is going to be key signs of high functioning depression. Now, you might think that sounds a little familiar. What we did before was high functioning anxiety, but anxiety and depression is very different, and they have different symptoms. So today we want to focus on high functioning depression. If you guys do not know, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So during these times, I know we always pretty much do, but this is kind of our thing. This is our niche. So we want to bring topics that focus on mental health awareness so that we can help bring about mental health wellness. So we're going to talk about the high functioning. So we're going to talk about key signs of high functioning depression. And then we're also going to talk about how to cope with the symptoms. And then as a bonus, we're going to show you those signs as well in teens and children. And then we're going to show you how to help a loved one, because sometimes it's not always us. It may be someone close to you that you've identified that is suffering from high functioning depression as well.
And we think it's so important because it's like a stigmatism in the African American community to just be strong. Yeah. Oh, shake it off, or you're soft or something because you're dealing with depression. And we want to let you know that you're not the only one. All of us deal with depression, and we want to, and I don't want to make anybody feel bad, because in our family, you guys, because of a lack of knowledge, people kind of discourage people away from getting treatment for depression and high functioning depression. So what they would do is self medicate because they didn't understand depression. They didn't understand the medicine or the non-medicine things that are used to help a person come up out of depression. So, during this time, thankfully, we haven't, but I can't say we haven't, because if a person drunk themselves into cirrhosis of the liver, then they still kind of took themselves out because of depression. And we have had people lately committing suicide because they've been dealing with high functioning depression and they don't know, they don't have the support for it, they don't have the tools, they don't have the knowledge about it.
Yes.
So we want to bring that to you because we love you guys and we love our family and we love ourselves, and it's something that we have been dealing with. Hello, Sensei. Thank you for joining us tonight.
All right, so let's get into it. At the bottom of the screen, you're going to see a banner. What is high functioning depression?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll let Marie go ahead and get us started.
So high functioning depression is a non-clinical label for a form of depression that is not that is not necessarily severe enough to be categorized as clinical depression. So someone with high functioning depression might have symptoms of clinical depression, such as low mood, lack of motivation, while still being able to complete daily obligations. And that is like most of us.
We push forward.
So that's probably you. If that's you, comment. Don't be ashamed. And you don't have to comment if you want to, because I don't want to force anybody into doing anything that they don't want to.
Yes.
You guys, I'm trying to see my eyes look kind of crooked, but it's okay. But so because it's me. Hi, is anybody who ever functioned with high function depression? Marie has dealt with high functioning depression.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter how many material things you have, how many family members you have. Some of us suffers with it and we don't know why, but we do.
Exactly.
And don't be ashamed.
So,
so I'm going to continue with the term. What is high function depression? High function depression is a term used to describe someone who, despite having symptoms of a depressive disorder, can function well in various aspects of life, like work, school, home, and relationships. They may have mild symptoms of depressive disorder, and they might mask their depression so others would never recognize it is present.
So, what does that mean to you, right? When you think of high functioning depression, those are normally those people who are great at multitasking. They're doing a number of things all the time. And sometimes they may not even recognize that they're suffering from depression. And most of the times it's your funny friends. It's those friends that always, because a lot of them focus in on making others happy.
Mm-hmm.
And so many times I've seen like the late Miss Universe. I believe she was Miss Universe. She was a victim. Yeah, she was a pageant queen. She was the 2019 Miss Universe. She was suffering from high functioning depression, and around everybody's like, she's so full of life. She was always so funny. She was humorous and this. But those are the people most likely though that funny friends. So I always say, check on your strong friends.
Or the successful friends.
Check on your successful friends. Check on your funny friends, because I know they are always there to try to uplift the mood, but most times those are the most lonely people. Those are the people who are dealing with the most depression, because when the laughter stops and the people leave, now they're only left with them. And oftentimes they can be in a crowded room and feel lonely. So that's what high functioning depression looks like. So we'll get more into that as well.
Yeah. So persistent depressive disorder, someone who is high functioning but also have symptoms of low mood, may be experience a mild version of persistent depressive disorder, PDD, which is diagnosed and treatable. PDD, formerly called dysystemic disorder, involves long-term depressive symptoms that seem to be consistent and steadily. So this can be a consistent thing with them.
Yeah,
they fight it, but they're functioning, but they're steady fighting it.
Right, because depression seems to it's almost like it's a roller coaster. A lot of people say it's a roller coaster. Your mood is up, then it's down, then it's up, then it's down. So it's like a roller coaster. If you were gonna say so, signs of high functioning depression. That's
Oh no, I
All
was
right.
looking at that.
Oh,
And
okay. Yeah. So signs of high functioning depression. So this is kind of goes back to what I was saying. So people at any age may be depressed and yet appear to be high functioning. Depressed people may always have a smile. That's that funny friend I'm telling you about. That person that always want to make you laugh, right? Sometimes referred to as smiling depression. Who knew? A smiling depression. But that does not change their mental health. They may also have milder symptoms of depression. So comments, you're going to say something. Go ahead.
I was thinking about Will Smith because that was one
Yeah.
of the comments that kept saying, well, he was
laughed.
smiling, he was laughing, he was
But that was
laughing.
that's how he deflects them. It's a
Yeah.
like when we laugh at stuff
I
that's
smile.
uncomfortable.
I look at my smile as like a blessing and a curse because I'm a person who suffers with high functioning depression. But I always smile. If I see you, I'm gonna always smile at you and say hello, how are you? I'm always gonna give you encouraging words, and I can be feeling my worst.
Yes. And that's one of those things. So here are some more signs of high functioning depression. Tearfulness or crying frequently. Somebody that's always sad, they always crying when they're, but most likely they're going to do this alone. That's the one thing about depression. Sometimes it locks you into this box and you want to be alone and you're in the dark or whatever it is. Lower productivity or decreased in overall activity, less involvement in activities than they have previously enjoyed. Like if that person suddenly don't want to paint no more and you knew that was made them happy, or they don't want to bake anymore and you knew baking was their thing, check on them because there may be something deeper going on. Appearing low in energy in spite of adequate sleep. People sleeping all the time but they tired all the time. Irritability or frequent anger. Poor appetite or decrease or increased appetite, difficulty falling asleep or staying asleep, excessive sleep, more than 10 hours daily for teens. So in your kids, guys, because again, we're going to do adults and we're going to do kids and teens. Um, so pay attention to your teen. If suddenly you're outgoing, bubbly, fun, athletic teen that always want to be with their friends, want to be in their room, suddenly a little sad, quiet, more withdrawn, sleeping a lot, check on them. It could be depression, guys. Because we want to identify this and we want to get help. We want to start getting involved. Comments of hopelessness, guys.
And they can even do it in a
They
joking
do it
way.
in a joking way. So be mindful of those comments that's like, oh, I'm tired of living. Ain't no sense to this. Ain't nothing here. Like hopelessness. You'll sense that hopelessness. And those negative comments toward their self, critical thinking, self-critical comments. Again, oh, I'm so stupid. Oh, I'm so dumb. Who would love me? Or things like that. Because I have a coworker who do it all the time, and I'm literally on her, and I say, I'm gonna be on you about those comments, and she's like, oh, thank you, because truly, I want to help her and make it noticeable. Because sometimes you don't notice things until somebody point them out to you. Jasmine. So statement of feeling sad, down, or empty. Sometimes people say it, sometimes they don't. It's best if you know somebody because you can kind of get a feel for their personality or what it normally is. And you'll know when it dropped too. Like you're like, wait a minute, something's not right because normally she's like this or like that. So you'll know. Difficulty concentrating. They can't focus on one thing. They're all over the place. And they just seem unsettled, uneasy. So pay attention to those signs. Frequent comments of regret about the past. Man, I wish I would have never did that. Oh, I should have did better here. Oh, like it's small things that you can catch or just pay attention to. And sometimes you won't even notice it until somebody has mentioned it.
And you want to notice another one? People who always say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I always say, it's okay. Sorry for what?
Yeah.
Because that's somebody who's dealing with something and they're trying their best not to offend anybody so they don't have to feel that feeling because they're already so down low. So they're just so apologetic about something that they shouldn't be like, apologetic for.
I ain't even thought about that.
Yes.
Yes.
So what it feels like to have high functioning depression. I could tell you sometimes it feels very, very draining to have high functioning depression.
And lonely. It feels lonely. You could be in a crowded room and you could feel all by yourself. Because again, these are some things that we have dealt with. That's why I wanted to be transparent with you guys. When I was having my tough week, I purposely made a video and said, this has been a tough week for me, because sometimes when people get on platforms and people start to talk about different things, somehow people put you in this unrealistic light, and they don't think you experience these things or you go through those things. But I wanted to have a moment of transparency and invisibility to say, yeah, this is a tough week for me as well, but I have to overcome it. I will overcome it because I have to overcome it, because that's how we want it to work. We want you to get better. So in order for us to be, helpful, we need to be transparent. So that's what we want to do here.
So high function anxiety, let me tell you how I feel. It feels like sad. I have low energy, but I have to get through this. I have to push through. My kids, my boss, my family is depending on me. But at the same time, it feels like I can't do this, but I have to do this. That's what high functioning depression feel like. And that's not just what I feel. This is from studies of how most people feel who have high functioning depression, including me. You have the days where you feel like, I just can't do this. Your energy is so low, even though you purposely went to bed on time.
Yes.
And I've been taking my vitamins. I've been doing everything that I possibly can do to get the energy that I need to push forward, but my energy is still so low. I still so low. That is what high functioning depression feel like. High functioning depression feel like, even though I'm around these people and I love them, being around them is exhausting me. I just want to go back home to my bed, to my couch, to wherever your comfort place is. That is what high functioning depression feels like. Yeah. And I don't want you to feel ashamed of it, because it's so many people have that feeling. You know what I'm saying? And it's nothing to be ashamed of. The first place to recognizing, the first place to healing is recognizing it so that you can conquer it. Mm-hmm. So in addition, you may also have one or more of the following symptoms to high functioning: feeling of worthlessness or guilt, persistence of negative thoughts, difficulty focusing at work, school, or home. So pay attention to the kids if they can't focus at work or school. Feeling irritable or easily annoyed by others for no reason, even feeling irritable towards your own children. You know what I'm saying? Feeling agitated or restless, loss of interest in social activities. I'm a social person. I love people, but sometimes I lose my interest. Increased hours of sleep. If you're sleeping too much, that it can be a sign of high functioning depression. Increased hours of sleep, tiredness, lethargy in spite of adequate sleep. Like I said already, I got enough hours. Why do I still feel so tired and drained? Thoughts of death or suicide, but you won't do it because I'm not going to kill myself because I'm not going to leave my kids behind. But you still have those thoughts that you feel like, I would be better off if I wasn't here.
Or and I want to interject as well. If you feel like you only living for your children, or you're only living for your mom
or your mate,
that is a sign of high functioning depression or depression. Please get help, because you should want to live for you. You should want to live because, again, back to the Miss World, she has told her mom, I've been living for you for all these years, and now I can no longer do it. And by the time you get this message, it'll be too late. So in this moment, I just want to say, if you feel like you only living because you living for your kids, your mate, whoever it is, if it ain't just yourself, you may want to talk to somebody. Go ahead. I didn't want to continue.
That's fine. That's fine. You know what I'm saying? High functioning depression symptoms is gain of weight or weight loss without intention. Yes. Frequently tearful crying. Like, you guys, when I'm going through my episodes, like, I could be watching TV and any little part that probably shouldn't even make you cry, I'll be, oh my God, crying. And some people, in our community, like, oh, she's soft. Oh, she's a crybaby, but they don't even know how deep it runs and what I'm going through. So it's so important to recognize depression, because it does not discriminate in age, race, It just does not
Sex,
discriminate in
anything.
sex, male or female. You know what I'm saying? It's common in college students, professionals,
Yes.
homemaker, retirees, and everyone in between, because it just affects all of us. You know what I'm saying? So if you're experiencing any of these symptoms of depression with enough regularity that you're using the term high functioning depression to describe your state, it is a good idea to speak to a therapist or to go seek help from somebody.
Right. And we are very big on speak to a therapist, get a counselor, seek professional help because again, that has been kind of demonized in our community. People like, "Oh, does that mean I'm crazy?" Absolutely not. It
Absolutely
actually means
not.
the
I,
opposite.
I actually had
You
somebody, Melissa, come to me and was crying to me. Somebody very close to me, and I told her you need to see a therapist, and she said, "So, if I go see a therapist, that ain't gonna mean I'm crazy." I said, "Absolutely not.
right.
It means that you need a little bit of help, like most of us do." I'm gonna
Right.
say all of us, because all of us at some point need
You're
a
gonna need a
little bit
little
of
help.
uplifting,
Hmm.
need a little bit of help to get back to who we are.
Yes.
So if you recognize, you guys, that you are got low moods, you lose your appetite, or you just really low, go see a physician. I'm a life and health coach, but I'm not a physician, and some things are much deeper than I can help you with. So a psychologist, a therapist, your doctor, those are people who can help you.
Yes, absolutely. So again, I just want to kind of dive a little deeper into signs of functional depression in children and teens.
Because we don't want to
Um,
forget about them.
right, because people have the misconception that because kids are not paying bills and all,
Hmm.
they can't be depressed because why are you depressed? Right?
Yes.
No, absolutely not. We have to steer away from that narrative. Kids can absolutely be depressed. And the sad thing about children and teen depression is it's oftentimes missed. We often write it off as something else. So, childhood depression is easily missed since children are less likely than older teens and adults to express their feelings. Kids won't come to you and say, "Mom, I'm depressed," because they probably don't even know what it means. They just feel sad, hopeless, or whatever else
Hmm.
the feeling is. Um, so it is important to note changes in your child behavior. Pay attention to your child. You know your kid better than anybody. You know what they enjoy. You know how they normally are when they're happy. So if something changes, don't write it off as an episode. Don't write it off as whatever else it is. Check with your child. Hey, what's going on today? How you been feeling? You and always let them know you can talk to me about anything because I always open that door to my children. You can talk to me about anything. I want you to know that. And if you can tell on anybody, we can talk to me about anything. And I'm here to help you. I'm on your side. I'm on your team. So a decline in school performance, possibly due to difficulty concentrating. Suddenly your A student getting B's, C's, and D's, or whatever it is. You start seeing your child not interested in their work anymore. Um, Pay attention because that could be a sign. Comments about running away from home. Suddenly they are, I hate it here. I don't want to be here. They lashing out at you. They're being insubordinate. They're being kind of
Can,
argumentative. Go
can I
ahead.
tell you something? Because I was a teen who suffered from depression. See, my mother and my father separated when I was 9 years old, and that
Mm-hmm.
caused me to go into deep depression. But because depression was something that wasn't talked about or knowledgeable about in our family at
Mm-hmm.
that time, I went into a deep depression, but nobody was able to notice the signs. I would sleep a lot. I didn't have any interest to play with other kids.
Wow.
And at some point, I ran away from home. So I became an at risk youth.
Mm.
And I went through a lot of trauma that I didn't have to go through if my family would have had the knowledge that we're sharing now about
Yes.
the signs of depression.
Yes.
Because usually, if your kid wants to run away, it's too much for them. Life is becoming too much for them, where their home that's supposed to be peaceful and a safe haven has become not a safe haven for them, and they will run to the streets where it's even worse, and in their mind somehow it would feel like it's safer there when it's not, when it can cause more damage if we don't make it safer for them. So it's so important as parents for us to ask our kids about depression, to care how they're feeling, not only care about our feelings because we're working hard. We brought them here, so it's important for us to make sure that they're safe mentally, physically, and spiritually.
Absolutely. And for me, um during my times of teen depression, losing my mom, going through that, I had went through a period where I was the only kid left at home, and my mom had became my best friend. She was the life of the party always. So I was always with her day in, day out, and we hanging and we, I'm with her. Like that's my girl because I would kick it with my mom, like kick it with her, and she would just like let me.
Awesome,
Because
mom.
at that point she, she had mellowed down a lot, and I would say stuff, and she would just laugh. So I moved into another city. That was the first
Yeah, being
impact for
separated
me.
from your
Being
friends.
separated from everybody I grew up with. And then I was thrown into a new city, another new school. So before we moved, I used to go through a lot of different schools, and I hated always being a new kid. Um, and then now I'm through into a whole new city, another school. There's the depression. Then over the summer, we find out my mom is sick. Then it seems like, oh, okay, maybe this is not going to be as bad as I thought. Now that life of the party, my best friend is starting to deteriorate, right? Things are starting to go south. And I mentally couldn't deal with it. So my way of dealing was not to deal. And that's what a lot of situations, and I as an adult, I realized I never was dealing with situations. I was running away
And
from
when
them.
you do that, you end up hurting yourself and the people you love.
And you do. So but it's having the knowledge. That's why we always say tools you can use.
Tools you can use.
Because we don't want you guys to experience it this way when we can give you tools that you can use.
Because in the Bible, y'all know, because I am a Christian, she's a Christian too, but because I am a Christian, I'm always going to go back to what the Word of God says. In the Word of God, in one of the scriptures, it says the people perish because of a lack of knowledge.
Yes.
Our people are perishing from depression because of a lack of knowledge.
Right.
A lack of knowledge, telling our people, don't take that medicine, they make you crazy, when it was already crazy or dealing with some things. And so they're self-medicating on alcohol, drugs, syrup, and things like that, because the family is encouraging them away from the help that they truly need. And so they're self-medicating. Don't discourage your family. Dig in, research, find out the truth, because depression is real. High functioning depression is real.
Yes.
And it's important that we get our people the help that they need, so that they don't have to depend on alcoholism. So they don't have to depend on crack or meth or syrup or pills or perks or none of those things to function in life.
Absolutely. So again, I was, like I said, I was going through that reality, because at first when I moved here, again, if I ran away from it, then it wasn't reality for me. So when I moved here, in order to get away from the fact that I had moved and left all my friends behind, I would like to stay over my sister's house, because when we came to visit, we was there, and that meant we was going back home. So I always found myself trying to go to my sister's house, because at one point that meant I was going back home. So then when my mother started going downhill, I couldn't face that reality. So I started running away. I started throwing myself into like my boyfriend at that time, because he was helping me escape my reality, until my reality caught up with me and I couldn't escape it anymore. So, and a lot of times I was dealing with a lot of depressed. Like at that point, even as a young kid, I had figured, you know what, I'm gonna talk to my doctor. And so I did talk to my doctor, and I did get help and medication during that time. But it was just a lot as a teen. But when people who don't know saw, they were like, hey, what's going on there? Or she want attention. I heard a few negative comments, but hey, that's what we want to make sure you are not doing these negative things. Don't close the door. Don't come to your own understanding. Don't decide what this kid is going through. Ask them. Give them the chance to say to you.
With you. So risk of functioning depression. One of the risks is, we all know, is suicide. And that's sad. We don't want to lose none of our people to suicide. And that's the suicide hotline. If you know anybody who has been threatening that I'll be better off if I'm not here, even if they say it jokingly. One of the risks of not dealing with high functioning depression is suicide. People with high functioning depression can find themselves stuck in the middle. That this could be well and actively to play with their systems, but too unwell to easily maintain their relationships and their responsibility. Yes. High functioning depression is surely more desirable than severe chronic depression, but high functioning depression encounters a unique set of challenges. It may be harder for them to see the need for treatment. And when they do seek help, their treatment team may not prioritize their concerns. So it's important, you guys. So even when you go for high functioning depression, that you find the right therapist, the right counselor,
Yes.
because they might not think you're serious enough. And if a person don't think you're serious enough, find somebody
Find
else who
somebody
do.
else.
Don't let that person discourage you. I have had people who was discouraged because they ran into the wrong counselor, the wrong psychiatrist, the wrong therapist.
Yes.
No. I am a person who have ran into the wrong counselor, the wrong psychiatrist, and guess what I did? I fired them because they work for you.
And that's the same thing with doctors. I'll always
And
tell
and
people.
same thing with doctor. You go get the people who's going to treat you, who care, who understand who you is.
Exactly.
Yes, it's going to take a little bit of work, but your life is worth it. Your child life is worth it.
Yes.
So it's worth it to say, you know what, you're not working for me. It's like interviewing. It's like even like if you think about real estate, when you're interviewing for the way real estate agent, like, no, this person not working for me. You know what I'm saying?
Really.
And I need somebody else who's going to understand what I'm trying to get to for this house.
Exactly.
The same thing for your mental health. Like, yeah, you're not working for me. You don't understand. You're too shallow. You haven't been through anything. Let me find somebody who understands me. And that is it. Because the risk is too deep, you guys. The risk is losing your child to suicide. The risk is losing yourself to suicide, leaving behind the people you love, possibly children, when it's not worth it, when you have so much more. You're so much valuable. You're a diamond.
Yes.
You're a diamond. You know, just think about how diamonds are made. Diamonds are made. They start off as a rock, as a black rock. Now they selling them just black, but and they're just under pressure. They're designed and they're never perfect. Think about it. Diamonds are never perfect, but they look so beautiful. Everybody wants them, but they're never perfect. All diamonds have imperfections.
Right. Exactly. So let's talk about the potential causes of high functioning depression, because we want you to be able to, one, identify what it is and what it looks like in adults, teens, and young children. And then we want to tell you what the potential causes are. So, in general, the common triggers for high functioning depression are similar to common triggers of any form of depression. Common potential causes and triggers of high functioning depressions includes high levels of stress related to demands of work, school, or family and home. Financial problems, history of trauma, such as loss of a loved one, emotional abuse, or being bullied,
or sexual abuse.
sexual abuse as well. Inherited traits which create a predisposition to become depressed.
So depression is hereditary.
It's hereditary. So if your mom had it, your auntie had it, you could have it. So definitely be aware of that. It's most likely hereditary. Um, Biochemistry, particularly in imbalance of any of the neurotransmitters which are related to mood stability, medical illnesses or chronic pain, relationships, conflicts at home, school, or work, misuse of substances which affects mood or level of functioning. So guys, don't abuse medication,
or marijuana,
or
alcoholic, because it can cause depression.
Yeah.
And one thing I want to say, because it's a high functioning of pain. So we have people who have like kidney failure, who's waiting for a kidney, who's on dialysis, or even our mother who had got diagnosed with cancer. The pain of that type of diagnosis or fighting those type of diseases and battles can cause depression.
Yes,
because it take you away from the normal. You know, when you have this norm of life and all of a sudden you get pushed into this, I'm fighting for my life.
Right.
It can cause depression, but there's still help for that.
Absolutely. And last but certainly not least, chronic fear due to living in an unsafe environment. Most times when you are unsafe or you feel unsafe, there is no comfort there. There is no love there. There is no happiness there for you. So you can definitely fall into
and unsafe
depression.
Mean being in a domestic violence situation or dealing with somebody who might be messing over your children, whether that be physical or sexual. So those right there can cause triggers in depression. So I like to go into 7 tips of managing high functioning depression. You know, sometimes changes in our lifestyle very often helpful in individuals who are coping with any form of depression and mood. This lifestyle changes can include changes in diet, exercise, sleep, routine, uses of substance, and involved with social support. So some of the things that can help us is if we drink too much, slowing down on it. If we smoke too much, slowing down on it. If you're popping pills or any other drugs, trying to get help for that.
Right.
Getting a better support system.
Yes.
One thing that I could say is that I have an awesome support system with my sisters and my church, Word of Faith Christian, Grand Rapids, Word of Faith, Grand Rapids. I have an awesome support system. So getting an awesome support system who's going to support you, but hold you accountable for getting the help for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Exercising relieves stress, so it can make you feel better, even though some of us like exercise, but you can actually find exercise that you enjoy. Like I love walking in warm weather with my sisters. We enjoy that, listening to the birds. Last year Melissa found a bird call for canary, what's they call canaries.
Yeah.
And so the birds will call back to us. That was it might be lame to you guys, but that was very exciting for us. You know what I'm saying? And getting a sleep routine. Sleep routines can be difficult if you suffer from insomnia. I suffer from insomnia, but they have medications that can help you with that. And we will get into some of those, even though we are not doctors. So anything that we talk about, we expect and we encourage for you to contact your physician or anybody who's over it and ask their permission and see if it's okay for you.
Exactly.
So since common people for depression have difficulty initiating new behaviors, I recommend first step to seek the help from a mental health professional who will support and help you make changes that will be most beneficial for you. And that could be a life coach if you want a life coach. If it's too deep, I will add on and give a recommendation for a psychiatrist or a counselor. Here are 7 lifetime. I'm going to give you 7 lifetime changes which have been shown to lessen depressive symptoms. So, um, daily routine physical activity has been strongly linked to improve mental health and mood for all ages. This particularly is true for persons who with the chronic depressions such as PDD and for depression related to chronic anxiety. And we talked about that. So number 3, and that's 1 and 2. You know what I'm saying? Changing your lifestyle, getting an exercise routine, getting you a sleep routine is 2. Number 3 is set a daily goal, preferably simple ones that are easily reached in order to boost self-confidence and sense of accomplishment. And I can tell you, as a life coach, life and health coach, because health for me include depression, I always give my clients small steps to reach their goals. So setting a small attainable goal to make you feel better. And sometimes it's so much better to get somebody who's going to support you, like a psychiatrist, a counselor, or a coach, so that they help you set those goals, or somebody who loves you, a sister or somebody. You let them know what you want to do. I'm suffering from depression and I need to set some goals so I can get to a better state. And find that person in your family or life who's going to hold you accountable and help you set that up. Begin to make improvements in your diamonds. I said diamonds because you guys are diamonds. I'm sorry, but I meant diets. In your diet, which coincide with energy and less sluggishness. So, guys, we got to leave the carbs alone. Leave the carbs alone. I know some people like, I don't even eat. I have people say, I don't even like sweets. I don't even eat sweets. But they eat bread with everything. You eat sweets because eating bread is like eating cake. It turns to sugar in your body. You know what I'm saying? Carbs turn to sugar in your body. So getting a better diet with protein, whole wheats, and vegetables and fruits will increase your energy and make you feel better. Establish a routine for sleep and waking. So have a time that you're going to go to bed and a time that you're going to wake up.
Yes.
Limit your unmet use of alcohol and other drugs depending upon personal health risks. Seek support for recovery from substance abuse if needed. I would like to say this because I see people say, well, it's nothing wrong with weed, this, and that. And it's not. Just like I like to drink alcohol. I like to drink wine, which is considered alcohol. However, if you cannot function at work, taking care of business without being under the influence, it is a problem. And you need to seek some help because you have some deeper issues. If you can't go out and take care of your business without being under the influence of marijuana, pills, syrup, or alcohol, that's when it becomes a problem if you can't function without it. Now, if you're using it for fun and this and that, like I do every Friday, once a Friday, a couple drinks, me and my sister share a bottle. then that's cool. But if you have to do it every day of waking and you can't go to work without having a blunt, or you can't go to work without having a drink, you have a problem in your hand. You need to seek help for substance abuse.
Exactly.
So, and reach out to family and friends or members of the local online community for emotional support.
Yes.
It's so important to have a family. Like they said, it takes a village to take care of a child. It takes a village for us to take care of ourselves also. So get you also, and there's people out there. We're part of your village now. Even if you want to reach out to us, we're part of your village now.
Absolutely. So, guys, um, we've talked about the signs of high functioning depression, what it looks like. We've talked about the risk of functional depression. We've talked about 7 tips of managing it. Now it's time to talk about treatments for high functioning depression. So, to determine the most effective ways to cope with high functioning depression is crucial. The first step um, the first step is to first get an accurate assessments of all your symptoms. So if you start feeling different than you normally feel, take note of that. I'm starting to feel more sleepy. I'm not interested in things I like to do. My body is more, I don't have a lot of energy. So then you want to when you have the symptoms, you want to be evaluated by a mental health professional. It may be determined that another form of depression is present. So you can have more than one depression at a time, guys.
Absolutely.
It's
And
absolutely possible,
anxiety
and
in it.
anxiety
And
as
that's
well.
natural.
So it's not, it's not far fetched. Some people can have more than one thing going on at one time. So it's important to note that. Um, so then after you have determined your symptoms, you recorded them, you sought out a mental health professional, then you want to very often do a combination of psychotherapy, medication, only if your doctor prescribes it,
And this is one of my favorites right
and
here.
a lifestyle change that are effective with coping with functional depression. So psychotherapy for depression. Is that your favorite, you
That's
said?
my favorite.
Okay. So several different you want to talk about it since it's your favorite?
I can.
You know what? It's your favorite. I want
It's
you to
my
handle it.
favorite. So one of my main things, because I'm not a big medication person,
Yeah.
for me. But some people who got the deep, especially if they're dealing with schizophrenia, bipolar depression, and things like that, medications is well needed. You have to have it to make you back balanced or get your chemicals back balanced. But one of my favorites, several different modalities for therapy, depression includes cognitive behavior therapy, CBT. Is an effective treatment that involves making changes in both patterns of negative thoughts and behavior routines, which are affecting the daily life of the depressed person for various forms of depression.
Yeah.
So, this is something as a coach that we do. We focus on, as a life coach, behavioral change.
Yes.
I am not a therapist. I am not, and therapists really focus on that. So they really do CBT. And even though, us as coaches, we can't say that we do cognitive behavior therapy, but part of our thing includes that. It does, because one of the things we focus on through the sections, well, I know at least me as a coach, I focus on is cognitive behavior change, changing your behavior to get you to the best result. So that is one of them that you can do.
Yes.
And then you have psychodynamic therapy, a style of investigate role of unconscious mind depression. Then you have solution focused therapy, an approach interested in solutions which can be quickly implemented with a simple first step leading to further positive consequences. And lastly, medication for depression. Now, we have to say this. We are not psychiatrists. We're not doctors. We're not therapists. We're not anybody who subscribes medicines and anybody who can suggest medications to you. So some individuals who experience high functioning depression may have symptoms severe enough to warrant the use of antidepressant medications. There are 5 basic types of antidepressant categorized as follows: as selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, SSRIs. Serotonin is one of them. And I don't, you know what? I'm not going to even give you the names to these, But I will let you know that there are 5 best types of antidepressant medications that can help you with high functioning depression, any type of depression and anxiety. And if you consult your doctor about them, they will give them to them to be safe for you and for us. We're not going to name any of those medicines.
And so if you was to say, okay, I've heard what high functioning depression looks like. I heard what signs that are there. I've heard tips on how to cope with it. But how do I know when it's time to seek professional help?
Mm-hmm.
I am going to tell you, it is always advisable to seek help for functional depression, since this can easily become a chronic problem, which persists for years if left untreated. So, guys, it's not going to fix itself.
It's not.
And we just have to be upfront with you. It's not going to fix itself. You can run, but it will eventually catch up with you. So it's very, very important that you seek help and you know when to seek help. So typically, a person who functions at a high level in spite of having a depressed mood is a self-driven individual. Those your entrepreneurs, those your multitasker, those successful people
mothers.
There, those mothers, those geniuses, right?
Good fathers, yeah,
or some of them. So I hope not all. So who has very high expectations of themselves. Those people they want to succeed, they got to succeed, and if they fail, the world has just crashed for them. If they did bad, the world has just ended for them. And that could be high functioning depression. So if they start feeling themselves in those moods where they're down because they didn't succeed, or you feel you're very critical about things that you did not do correctly, and you're still thinking about the past and what happened and what you should have could have done, that may be a time to start writing down those symptoms and getting ready to seek help, guys. So then they find it difficult to ask for help and to admit to themselves or others that they are struggling. So those people, most likely, they're not going to ask you. They're not going to tell you. It's those people that's like they suddenly withdraw, they back, and you notice a change in their mood. Ask them, because they're not going to ask you. The same is true. The same is true for those people who those people, not the regular people, but the funny people. Let's say the funny people, right? Because for me, I'm a person, like, I'm a jokester. Like, I joke a lot. Anybody who know me know I play. They'll say you play a lot, right? But those are time. It is sometimes when if I'm not joking or I'm reserved, you might want to ask a few questions, because something has happened. Something might be going on there. So definitely check in. So there is also the challenge of overcoming the stigma of mental health problems, especially in the black community, which continues to be
and brown community.
Black and brown communities. We are not big on mental health and getting help with mental health. We don't really even talk about it. And we sometimes the parents get embarrassed because something has happened, right? Which continues to be a severe barrier to mental health care in the United States. The past 2 decades have seen some progress in terms of encouraging awareness and dialogue about depression, anxiety, and other mental health problems. This has been done by providing mental health education. So that's what we want to do. We want to encourage mental health awareness by providing mental health education.
This is what we do every Friday.
Yes.
And we don't want to have sad segments. We would just want to have sessions, segments, or whatever they call them on YouTube and stuff, that encourage people to go seek help, so that you can be the best you and feel the best because you can.
Exactly.
I'm a living testimony of not defeating it, but battling depression to the point where it does not control my life. I control it.
Yes. So we want to be your community, right? We want to be a community. We want to be your accountability partners. We want to check on you. That's why we always ask in the beginning of our segments, what's going well for you? Because we want to know what's going well. And if something going bad, we always say this is a judge-free zone. Absolutely. We want you to be comfortable with dropping something in those comments and saying, I'm not doing well, guys. We will check on you personally. We will inbox you. We can have a discussion and we can figure that out.
And I will put a link for you to call me, for you to get a direct coaching session with me so we can come up with some steps to get you going on the right track.
Absolutely. So there are a number of ways to get professional help for high functioning depression, including asking a primary care physician for a referral to a psychotherapist. Ask your health insurance company for a list of in-network mental health providers near you. Use an online provider locator and refine your search by insurance company, location, and other factors important to you. Contact the local community mental health center. So that's very important.
Or you can contact us and we will help you find somebody in the area.
Right. So, guys, even the suicide hotline that we have listed on the screen, they will provide you with a list of people who can help you. And again, your primary physician that you go to and see for a headache, backache, whatever, they can refer you as well. So
I would like to say it's important for us to keep ourselves out of depression. But even if we have got ourselves out of it and we're doing well, we want to make sure that our loved ones are not experiencing that they're seeking the help that they need. So how to get help for loved ones. When you become aware that a loved one is depressed, there are several ways in which you may be able to help. Simply listening to their thoughts and feeling is often most helpful than you can as a friend or a partner. So this is most important because most people don't want you to give them advice. They just want somebody to hear them and listen to them. So sometimes just listen. If somebody call you, don't feel like, oh, they're about to mess up my day. I want to hear that. Sit there. If you love them and listen to what they have to say. After you listen to them, after you offer your emotional support, your empathy, your encouragement, take time to be involved with them in activities which they enjoy. So I encourage people, like even my family members, like as sisters, we'll call each other, say, get out the house, come over here. Encourage them, come to this event with me, come to this fashion store for, like I went to a fashion store for autism and invited my best friend for autism awareness. Invite them out of the house. Don't forget about them because they're feeling low and you just leave them there. Where they feeling, oh, I don't want them to, mess up my mood. But no, invite them out with you.
Yes. And I also want to say, when you are listening to somebody, don't make it about you. Don't interject and say, me too. I've been feeling that too. Listen to care, listen to show that you care. Because sometimes we do it unconsciously. We'll take something and turn it around. We'll make it about us unconsciously. So when you are listening, make sure you are listening, right?
And listening, because that's one thing that I teach as a coach, is communication. Listening is listening. Listening involves you not speaking or you not even thinking about how to respond, but truly just listening to what they're expressing to you. Listening have so many components that it's so deep that I can't even get into it right now. But right now, as a person who wants to listen to somebody who might be going through depression, you just want to listen to them without responding, without having the right thing to say back to them. Just listening to everything they want to pour out because they're going through a hard time, and offer thoughts that are hopeful and suggest outcomes to their problems, which are optimistic or at least neutral and manageable. And if it's too deep, offer the suicide hotline to them or tell them to call their doctor or their counselor if they already have one, of their psychiatrists or anybody like that to get help if it's too deep for your encouragement.
So, again, I like to give a overview and then a summary. So today we have talked about key signs of high functioning depression, and then we went on to talk about what it is, and then we gave you signs of major episodes of high functioning depression, and then we talked about signs of functional depression in teens and children because it is very important to acknowledge and help with that as well. We gave you risk for functional depression, potential cause of high functioning depression, and then we went over 7 tips for managing high functioning depression, as well as treatment for high functioning depression, and last but not least, when and how to seek professional help for high functioning depression. So as always, guys, thank you for joining us for Unwind Friday. We hope you have been edified. I always say, if you have a topic that you want us to discuss, to drop it in the comments. We will do the research for you and bring it before you.
So your action steps, because I always give action steps because I am a life coach and that is what we do. Your action steps for this week is to recognize symptoms of high functioning depression. And if you're dealing with it, don't be ashamed to seek help. Even if that's just telling someone close to you about it, talk about it with somebody, guys. That's your action step. Call your doctor if you don't have anybody to talk about it with it, and get you a counselor, a therapist, a psychotherapist, so that you can be the best you, so you can flow at your highest frequency. And if you don't want to do that, comment on a link and I will send you a link for a free coaching session and we can talk about it together. So thank you for joining us and we love you and have an awesome Unwind
We
Friday.
will see you later, guys.